The Unhappy Hour on the new AmericanMedia.com.
Broadcasting to you live from the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, California, Los Angeles, California, to be as specific as I'm willing to get. I'm not going to give you the cross streets, but hello everybody, and welcome to a very special edition of the Unhappy Hour. Yes, it is the only Los Angeles-based, Cleveland-centric sports show that I'm currently aware of, and you happen to be listening to it. We talk about the Indians, we talk about the Browns, we talk about the Cavs, and of course we talk about the Buckeyes here on the new AmericanMedia.com and TNAM Radio. Thank you everybody who's been a part of this for the past 3.5 years, and we're still just getting warmed up, still just kind of stretching and cracking our knuckles and kind of bouncing around in place, getting ready to start playing this game for real. So thanks for joining us on this 3.5-year beta test, because it's going to be a real fun year moving forward. I promise you that. And for those of you who don't know who I am yet, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Brian Engelman. Thank you very much for being here. Check out our homepage, thenewamericanmedia.com. On the middle right is the TNAM radio link. It's got a little American flag there to remind you that, you know, it's the American media, the new American media. Click that, and that's how you can listen to the shows live every time we do them. Now, we're an internet-based radio show, so sometimes we do shows every Friday at 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock Pacific. We'll do a sports show first called The Unhappy Hour, and then we'll do Agree to Disagree. But we're also flexible. You know, I don't have to be on every 3 p.m. Bring your friends. No, I mean, we just fire it up sometimes and do shows when we can get our cool guests into the living room with us. And we have another cool guest with us today, Brandon Odell. He's been with us for the Strictly Browns segments and the Unhappy Hour segments that we've done over the past few years. We're going to get to him in a second. But that's how you check out our live radio show, TNAM radio link on the middle right-hand side of the newamericanmedia.com homepage. Right underneath that, you'll find our Facebook link. Make sure that you like our page. We're at 613 likes, and we only started really doing the Facebook thing maybe about a year ago. So definitely make sure that you like our page and let other Browns fans, Cavs fans, or Liberty-minded folks, whatever reason you're here, please recommend us to a friend. But underneath that, on our homepage is also our Twitter feed. We're at American_media_. And finally, if you haven't seen our interview with Wayne Static, who passed away this weekend, we interviewed him, I don't know, what was that? I don't think it was 6 months ago. Maybe it was a year and a half ago at the NAM convention, National Association, was it Music Merchants? Or anyway, in Anaheim, California, have about 100,000 people there. And talked with Wayne Static, really friendly, cordial, polite dude with a keen sense of business awareness and acumen. I've been seeing him at those trade shows for about a decade at this NAM convention, and I finally went up and said hi and got him to explain why he likes going to them. So anyway, he died early. If you haven't seen that video, go to youtube.com/thenewamericanmedia and click subscribe. So let's shift gears here. I mean, we could talk politics because there's an election tomorrow. We could talk about music, you know, with Wayne Static and whatever else seems interesting to you. But what's interesting to me is the fact that the Cleveland Browns are 5-3, the fact that we have passed October and we are within 1/2 of a game of first place in our division, and we play the division leader, the Cincinnati Bengals, on Thursday Night Football. Everyone is going to be watching. Is this our coming out party? Is the injury to Alex Mack really changed us from a really good team into an okay team fighting to cover up that big glaring weakness where it used to be a strength with our running game? We're going to have a lot of questions answered this Thursday. So we're going to talk sports. We're talking the Unhappy Hour. We're talking with Brandon Odell, who had been here for the past few years and on and off, back and forth, joining us occasionally, hopefully a little bit more often and regular as time permits. And that's one of the reasons why I've shifted my schedule a bit, is so I could try to get Brandon into the show. And let's welcome him. Brandon Odell, hello, howdy, welcome. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well. Just certainly still shaking off a little rust from being at the Browns game yesterday.
I like how you say that, shaking off a little rust. That is a very good way to describe what it's like. Because I was recently at the Cleveland Browns game against the Ravens. In fact, I met Brandon down there whatever the name of that bar was called. What the hell was the name of that bar where we met?
Dive bar.
Dive bar. Well, let me tell you, if you're going to Cleveland, we don't want to ruin it. I don't think we I don't think we have the Jim Rome audience where we could totally ruin a spot. Because what was that phrase? Yogi Berra said, "Oh, that place," talking about a restaurant. After everybody found out the Yankees went there, he said, "Oh, that place is so busy, nobody goes there anymore." And it's one of my favorite lines. But anyway, go to the Dive Bar. It's really right across the street from the stadium. Really cool place. Got some free Miller Lights, some Miller Lite cheerleader girls or referee girls or something. Yeah, but I mean, you talk about this, Brandon. It's like I said, past October. The Browns are actually relevant. And what do we have on this team? How much of a problem is the Alex Mack injury? And are we ready for prime time on Thursday against Cincinnati?
Okay, so you just threw a bunch of questions at me at once. So just pick one. What's the first question you want me to answer?
Tell me the vibe of the stadium.
The stadium definitely. I think it would be pretty similar to the vibe of the at-home audience, where there were times when you could cheer, there were times when you got up on your feet and you made some noise, and then there were a few times when things happened that made you, start smacking yourself in the forehead. But such is the life of an NFL fan, and you just hope that by the end of the game, you've had fewer forehead smacks than the opposing team's fan.
And particularly as a Cleveland Brown NFL fan, those smacking yourself in the forehead moments have been way more than the jumping up and down and giddy with absolute happiness and delight that your team has performed so fantastically. Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot of weird endings to game, whether it was Dwayne Rudd or the Oakland game I was at where we won it, but then the penalty brought it back, and then the ensuing field goal was blocked by the Raiders. Oh, man. I mean, the Browns have seen such a weird fair share of downs, obviously ups and downs. But, yeah, that Tampa Bay game, Brandon, there were a lot of those Homer Simpson moments where you're just hitting yourself. Why do you think this Browns team was able to win, whereas I think you might agree the past few years the Browns teams would have found a way to lose a game like that? What makes them different this year where they were able to pull that one out even when they didn't play their best game?
Well, I mean, I think first and foremost you have to consider the foe and consider the fact that when you are not necessarily on top of your game, you're going to have a much easier time staying in the game if you're playing against another team that is even less on top of its game. Let's face it, if we were playing Tom Brady and the New England Patriots, who were able to just absolutely dominate what I thought was the best team in football in the Denver Broncos yesterday anyway, you think about something like that, and if we were trading if we were going down the field and getting to the 1 yard line and ending up only getting 3 points out of it and stuff like that, we would have been down 21-6 after the first quarter probably. So the point I'm trying to make there is definitely the team that we were playing, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, led by a young, inexperienced quarterback with Mike Glennon, weren't necessarily the New England Patriots. And I think that was probably the number one reason that allowed us to stay in the game. And then the other reason that I think we were able to win is I think that you usually say that if you can win two of the three phases of the football game and probably play to about a standstill with the phase that maybe you don't necessarily win, you're usually going to win the overall ball game. So I think we played a little bit better defensively than they did. We definitely played much better on special teams than they did, made a few huge special teams plays that really stuck out. And then obviously I would say that offensively, we scored 2 touchdowns, they got 2 touchdowns. What does the difference end up being? A few of these extra field goals that we got down there for, where we probably should have had 7 and left with 3 instead.
Yeah, and the confusing thing about this team, right? Because if you let the Buccaneers kick a couple of those field goals, that changes the dynamics of the game. If we're able to convert some of these long drives into 7 points instead of 3 points. I mean, there's any number of ways that this game could have broken in any different direction or any combination of. There were a lot of those swing performances where, a field goal's denied and it turns into a field goal on the other end. That's a 6-point swing, and when the game comes close, that's what counts. But this team was able to make the plays when they counted. And I think that's one of the things that the Cleveland Browns haven't really seen a lot of, to make the big plays when they count. Since, let's face it, go back past Tim Couch and go back past Kelly Holcomb, go back past Testaverde. We're talking Kozar before. Last time we had some reliable, people that could pull out the big play when it counts. But Brandon, the weird thing about the Cleveland Browns, we sit here with the same record as the Seattle Seahawks. And we made the Pittsburgh Steelers look like a CFL team. So it seems like it's a very weird season right now. And on some hand, with the Alex Mack injury, I feel like we're a team that totally lost our heart, our anchor, and we're screwed. But then I see us pulling out these ugly wins, and at the end of the day, who cares how you win? Blow out the Steelers or edge one out by 1 point. We're sitting at 5-3 in the thick of things in the AFC playoff hunt right now. So, I guess, what do you make of the Alex Mack injury? Is our team way worse than we used to be? Can we gain that running game back that was so dominant those first few games? And without Alex Mack this year, are we looking at a legitimate playoff team, a team that can win this division? Or are we looking at someone that could go 8-8 and just make us kind of happy with a few good moments this year?
Well, there's a few different ways that you could really look at this. You could say that the Alex Mack thing is totally responsible for everything that's happening. But I think it's a combination of Alex Mack being injured and just the rest of the offensive line going into a little bit of a slump as a result. I think that there are players that could be playing better, I'm sure, but I just think that the whole offense, as good as we thought that they were playing exceptionally well, and now they're just kind of playing average to below average and just getting by. Maybe the truth of what our team really is kind of somewhere in between the two. We're middle of the pack as far as how we're scoring our points, and maybe that's about where we are offensively, and we get to rely on the other phases of the game to help pick up the pieces a little bit. But I think that our running game is definitely still better than we've shown without Alex Mack. I think for some reason Crowell needs some more reps, and I'm not really too sure why they're not giving him some. There's got to be something going on behind the scenes that we're not seeing.
Well, you saw that West was benched for a poor attitude. He wasn't carrying out his play action. They were telling him, when you fake the handoff, you need to run like you have the ball because that's what tricks the linebackers and the defensive backs. And you're not doing that, and that's getting Hoyer killed. And they told him a few times, and he's like, all right, you're not going to listen? You're not playing. And they deactivated him and gave Crowell the snaps. Now, don't forget what happened there. Crow started dropping those pitches. You remember? We didn't lose every one of those, but he could not hold on to the freaking football. So it was almost like this week was the time to punish Crow and be like, buddy, get your game together. Ben Tate is back. He's, as healthy as you're ever going to see Ben Tate. But unfortunately, it is missing Alex Mack at center. And I've seen a totally different team, a team that was rushing for 120, 170 yards a game, pushing 200, 2 bills a game out of your three-headed beast to a team that's barely getting 45 yards out of the rushing attack. So I guess let's move toward the Bengals on Thursday. Which version of this Browns team do you expect to see on Thursday night, with as being the nationally televised game? The winner, I believe, is going to be alone at the top of the AFC North, right, for first place?
I mean, well, let's see here. Pittsburgh hasn't had their bye yet, I don't think. So they're 6-3 right now, aren't they?
I'm gonna pull up all the specifics on the AFC North.
Pittsburgh is 6-3. Baltimore is 5-4. The Bengals are technically still in first place because of that tie.
Yeah,
so they're
5-2-1.
So then you have let's see here.
Well, because
the Browns are 5-3. So
yeah, so we'd be 6-3, 6-3.
Game.
Yeah, and we'd be tied with the Steelers. We lost one and we won one.
Yeah, we'd be tied for first place for at least a couple of days until the Steelers played their next game if we won. But I mean, that's going to be a true test. Both of those teams are going to be, up on cloud nine for this game. Don't doubt that, because I mean, the Bengals don't really exactly get a whole bunch of home primetime games themselves. So, that their fans are going to be ready to go, and hopefully there will be a good contingent of Browns fans down in Cincinnati that night as well.
Yeah, I've been to Cincinnati, and I've watched us defeat a Bengals team trying to get into the playoffs. We had little else going for us other than to beat them, and we sure did. Tell you what. And some of the little things that can beat a team is special teams. Just real quick, tell us about the importance of the big Cleveland Browns special teams. Really just important performances from yesterday that were just at the end of the game, looking at that final score, they really made such a huge impact on how we were able to win this.
Well, you had Billy Wynn had an outstanding play blocking the one field goal. The other field goal they just missed, so that was lucky on our part. And then, right there towards the end of the game, after a crucial turnover, was it one of Hoyer's interceptions? And then on the next series, we got him like 3 and out and blocked that punt or something like that, or deflected it maybe. And that was Craig Robertson, I believe. See, it's a lot harder when you're actually at the game to know the people that are making all of these plays, because you don't get the benefit of having the announcers pointing out who you should really be paying attention to,
Right. No, and it's also difficult if you're at a place where they're showing every football game and you might not even have your audio.
This is true as
Yeah,
well.
exactly. So I totally get it. Being there but the point is, the special teams has always been an important part of any successful team's run toward the playoffs or toward winning a division. That is obvious. But yesterday it was completely on display. I mean, I was saying yesterday to my friend Deshaun, we were talking, the Browns haven't had a good kickoff return since Josh Cribbs.
For a while.
It has, and that used to be a strength.
I like the fact that they put Taylor Gabriel back there a little bit. I think he has some good scoot in his step. And I think Travis Benjamin has 1 or 2 kickoff return touchdowns. He's just playing completely. I mean, it's just like it's a mental block for him catching punts, but he makes some tremendous catches. As a wide receiver right now. So I'm not sure what the deal is with his confidence on the punts, but he definitely has made he made a great what was that, like a 31-yard catch or something that he made yesterday, and leaping in the middle of the field.
Yeah, all of our little receivers are playing good. Gabriel's playing good. Benjamin's playing good. Andrew Hawkins playing good. I mean, these guys, when Josh Gordon went down, remember, Brandon, I mean, you and I weren't the only ones saying, hold on a second. We know we're missing Josh Gordon almost the entire season, if not the whole season, or indefinitely. why don't you draft Sammy Watkins? You know, you could either have a two-headed beast or someone to at least fill in. And we were just screaming, we don't even know the names of our receivers on this team. Miles Austin is stepping up and making big plays. Talk about the wide receivers for a second on the Browns.
Oh, I love the wide receivers right now. I mean, and you're just thinking, you know, just imagine after Thursday, you'll only have 2 more games and Gordon will be back. And
God, I like hearing that. I love that.
That just completely changes the complexion of, you know, maybe the numbers might not necessarily say it because Hoyer, I think, still likes to distribute the ball. But in terms of how much extra defensive preparation is needed to get ready for it, I mean, he's a top 10 player in the NFL when he's on the top of his game. So it's just a matter of will it take him some time to get acclimated once again or not.
You know, that's very interesting because what that's going to do to the Cleveland Browns offense, to opposing teams' defenses. Okay, so Alex Mack went down, and you can see other teams are stacking the box and blitzing and putting more pressure up front than they ever have. What Josh Gordon coming back is going to do is stretch those linebackers and stretch those DBs further back so they don't get burned on a 55-yard touchdown, on a 73-yard touchdown, you know.
And you have double coverage on him. How open is Andrew Hawkins going to be? How open is Miles Austin going to be? How open is Travis Benjamin going to be? You know, how open is Taylor Gabriel going to be? I mean, everyone has been pitching in a little bit. And then how open is Josh Gordon going to be, you know? Somebody's got to cover Miles Austin, too. Someone's got to cover these other guys. Gordon's going to get some one-on-ones, and he's going to be wide.
Jordan Cameron, when's he coming back? I mean, the Browns are missing a lot of key pieces right now, and we're still, you know, I mean, honestly, take some of the 3 best players on your team. I mean, arguably, Alex Mack, one of the best players on your team. Jordan Cameron, one of the best players on your team. Josh Gordon, one of the best players on your team, all Pro Bowlers on a team that doesn't have a lot of Pro Bowlers. You take those 3 players away, and we're not even hanging tight, playing 500 here. You know, we're 5-3. We have a few games in the win category on top of it, and I think any team, if they lost 3 of their Pro Bowl players, I don't know that other teams would be able to manage it as well. I mean, talk about how much of this are. The credit for this, are you giving to Mike Pettin, first-year head coach for the Browns?
Oh, I think you have to give a lot of it to Mike Pettin, and I think that Mike Pettin has done a great job so far of balancing personalities. I think hopefully instilling some confidence in Hoyer. But at the same time, too, kind of tempering expectations for Manziel. Manziel will have his time, and I think it's going to end up being sooner rather than later, especially if the offensive line continues to slump a little bit. When you don't have that real strong running game, it does set up the quarterback to get teed off on more, so you know, it's very possible that you could see Hoyer get hurt or something like that still this season, without a doubt.
But you wouldn't imagine
one bit.
But you wouldn't imagine that he'd be taken out in favor of Johnny Manziel, because I've been kind of quick on the trigger. I've started the past few games saying, look, man, Hoyer's just not getting it done. Go to the bullpen if your starting pitcher doesn't have it that day. You know, I mean, he cost us that Jacksonville game almost single-handedly. And I'm starting to say, well, you know, let's bring in the kid. Let's go to the bullpen. I'm getting a little antsy with that whole Johnny Manziel. Let's play him a little bit and see what he can do. Where do you stand on the quarterback issue? Would you, if you were the coach, bring him in? Do you think Hoyer's play is earning him more time? I mean, just there's so many angles to cover on the quarterback situation. Take it wherever you want.
Well, I mean, I think that I would keep Hoyer in there and see where we're at the end of the season. And, I mean, as long as he's healthy and the team is continuing to play pretty well and he's able to make plays late in games to win them, I think that you got to keep him in there. if Mansell is able to have an entire redshirt year where he's just learning and watching, I really think that it would do him wonders. I really do. He's a young. He was a redshirt junior when he came out, or a redshirt sophomore when he came out. So he's a young kid, and I just think that the more time that he can have to be able to just grow and prosper and learn those little complexities, and then maybe he does. Maybe Hoyer's not here next year. Maybe Hoyer. The Browns, they just can't get a contract situated, and the Browns basically say, Mansell, it's your time. Go for it.
Yeah, I know, because it's hard. Once you go to him, you almost have to stay with him. How do you go back and, this back and forth? A team kind of needs an identity. They say if you have two quarterbacks, you have none. And fortunately, I'm very happy that Manziel's got to become Johnny Clipboard and learn. Because A&M is not really a Stanford style where it's a really pro-style quarterback position. He has a lot to learn, a legitimate, large amount of information to learn to catch up to what's going on here. So yeah, it has been good. The two sides have not been able to get a contract for Brian Hoyer. Even if you want to give the reins to Manziel next year, how could you do that if Brian Hoyer was around? It's going to be interesting to see. Let's not hate on our boy too much. Hoyer's getting it done. He rare mistakes out of the kid. He threw for 300 yards on Sunday. He just doesn't make a ton of mistakes with interceptions. 10 touchdowns to 4 interceptions, a 90 quarterback rating. It's okay. He's managing the games and he's getting it done, Brandon.
Oh yeah, and once again, I think best case scenario is that Hoyer's able to play this entire season and continue to do his thing. I would love nothing more. But at the same time too, I'm just realistic that at some point Manziel is going to get his shot one way or the other, and but that's pure speculation at this point. I think right now our job as Browns fans is, rather than spending all of our time speculating, let's just spend it just enjoying games week to week, and trying to do it the way that we expect the players to do, which is to not dwell on future games at all, because you have to worry about winning the one in front of you. So, we'll worry about Cincinnati and do our very best against them. And if Hoyer is in there and Hoyer wins the game for us, wonderful. And if he gets hurt or something like that, and Manziel, then I'm going to root for him. But I'm going to root for the guy that's in there. And, let's just beat Cincinnati and go from there.
Yeah, what do you see what's your prediction of the game on Thursday? Because if you remember when the Browns were on the big screen, the big stage last year, that was against the Bills, a Thursday night game, and that's where Hoyer unfortunately blew out his knee, ruining the great run that he was on there, a strong run of competence. He was winning the games, it wasn't lights out, 6 touchdowns or anything, but it was a nice string of competence. So let's hope our chance on Thursday is going to that it'll work out a little bit better, that people will stay more healthy than last year at least. But what do you see the score coming out at? This game's going to be down in Cincinnati, Brandon, and it's pretty much to put us. And I'm not sure who gets the tiebreaker if it's Pittsburgh and Cleveland with the same record, because we split during the regular season, but. A lot is on the line. Call it. What's the score Thursday?
Do we know anything about what the weather is supposed to be like that night?
Brandon, remember the weather report that we used to give at the B&B radio show at Bowling Green?
No, I don't.
We used to do a show from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. in the morning after the bars on, what was it, Friday night?
Friday night.
And it was the weather. Your weather broadcast tonight. It's dark, and we just left it at that because there's no sun. It was really stupid, but it always made me crack up. That's why. No, I don't know what we're expecting with the weather. Not so sure off the top of my head. If the weather's average...
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, you were probably going to say, well, if it's really cold, I expect this, or if the weather's nice, I'll expect this.
Kind of, but I think either way, you're going to find a low-scoring game. I wouldn't doubt if it ends up being, similar to what the Cincinnati game was last year at home for us, the one that was like Hoyer's second win. What did we win that? Like 17-14 or something like that?
That was a close one, yeah, last year.
And I could see a score like that. And so that's what I'll say. I'll say 17-14 Browns.
17.
And I'll say that they're down late, and Hoyer has to score a touchdown to win it.
That is very specific. I went with 2017. Went with 2017. Good guys. I think we pull it off. We've won big games down there in Cincinnati before. I know because I was there. I just think that this team, the defense is getting better. The offense is getting better. This is a team that's going to get stronger as the season goes on, even with injuries. And I think we're seeing that. It's just interesting to think that this Cleveland Browns team right now has the same record as the Dolphins, the Bills, who we traded our first-round pick with, the Colts, the Packers, and the Seahawks. Who would have thought this many games into the season, kind of at the halfway mark, Seahawks, Packers, Colts have the same record as the Browns. I'm kind of excited about that. But, real quick before I let you go, Brandon, I know you have to get rolling here. Thoughts on LeBron coming back? Thoughts on the Buckeyes? It's kind of just a grab bag here, whichever one you feel like commenting on.
I'm going to be patient with the Cavs this year. I don't think that they are just going to be this just incredible, amazing team overnight. I think that they're going to be very good, but I don't see them being like a 65-win team or anything like that. Buckeyes, it all. How do they come out in the first half against Michigan State? And I think whatever team is able to jump out to an early lead in a high-pressure environment, I think is going to have the inside track to the victory. So we'll see if the Buckeyes are able to come out and make a strong statement early in the game. And if they are, then I like our chances.
The Buckeyes just got that Torrance Gibson, 5-star athlete from Florida. Just chose Ohio State, and that's really good. You want to see those top-notch, the best across the land players picking schools like Ohio State, because you always got to think who's 2-3 years down the road, who's getting their time like Manziel to learn in the wings, so when they get their shot, they're ready. They're ready, when you got a Braxton Miller or whatnot. But I guess let me wrap then. Just back to the Cavs.
Yeah, final thoughts. I got to go. I got dinner about to come out. I got to tend to it.
Tell me what LeBron coming back to the Cavs means for people that were raised in Ohio on your way out the door.
It means just basically that we're not crazy, that other people feel the same thing we do and feel the same attachment even when you're somewhere else. And that's a good thing.
Absolutely, man. I think we should be patient with the Cavs this year. I think the Browns are going to give us more to cheer for. I think the Cavs could be a 65-win team and take the East, and who knows, maybe even win it all. But we'll have plenty of time to talk about that. Brandon, I'll release you. I'll thank you again for your time, and go enjoy your dinner. Go Browns, and we'll talk again as soon as we get the chance. All right, buddy?
Sounds great. Talk to you soon.
All right, take care, Brandon. There he goes, everybody. I would tell you to follow him on Twitter if he gave a damn about that type of thing, which he does not. The best way to find him is here at the New American Media and the TNAM Radio Network. So make sure that you go to our homepage and check out thenewamericanmedia.com. On the middle right side of our page at thenewamericanmedia.com is our TNAM radio link. You click play right there on that American flag, and then you can listen live to our shows. We always tweet out and we post on Facebook when we're doing a special show, like we did that right now before today's show with Brandon. We just said, hey, want to talk some Browns? Live Cleveland Sports Radio Show right now. Click here. Click play. Listen live. That's how you do it. So, You can do that from our homepage. That's how you listen live. Underneath that is our Facebook feed. Make sure you like our page. And you can do a search for The New American Media to like it as well. Underneath that, you're going to find our Twitter feed at American_media_. Make sure that you follow us on Twitter and subscribe, youtube.com/The New American Media. Yeah, I know Brandon's taking it easy and saying we got to be patient with the Cavs. And I think he's right, but I don't know that I have patience in me at this stage of LeBron James' career. I think if we're going to win, we need to win now. There's no taking a few years to gear up and go for it. I say we go now. Let's not mortgage the future and risk anything too ridiculous, but let's go for it now. So we'll see how that works out. Ohio State Buckeyes, an outside chance to sneak into the playoffs. The playoffs? I know it'll be a very long shot, but hey, you know what? Let's take care of business. Let's put a smack down on Michigan State if we can. And then hell, now we got to be right in the middle, right in the thick of things. You would think. So, anyway, Cleveland Browns playing Cincinnati Bengals. I'm picking the Browns 20-17. Brandon says the Browns are down late before Hoyer brings them back. Browns win 17-14. What do you think? Tweet us during the game at American_media_. Leave your comments underneath our shows on YouTube, and we'll talk to you again soon. Peace.
It's the Unhappy Hour.